All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Thank you all so much for being here. Don't delay. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat while we do our intro. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to another Ask Us Anything. Usually it's a wild card Wednesday. However, one of us is doing stuff again tomorrow. So I won't be streaming tomorrow. So we're coming to you all a day early. I am Maggie. You may know me from my cooking channel, Maggie the Substitute Teacher. I'm all about food and femininity. Luke Casely and I have founded the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. It is a privately taught 8-week Saturday school for ladies, I'd say 16 to 60 plus. We talk about femininity, etiquette, and elegance. And stay tuned. We're going to have a session for the kids in July. Lucy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lucy. I have a channel called Lucy Over 50. And previously, I taught basic to more advanced Spanish. But this year, I decided to change the content a little bit to make it about topics related to elegance, femininity, health, culture, and specifically on the perspective of a woman over 50 years old. So I'm hoping to post another video next week. This week, it's the week has been so crazy already. But next week, I'm hoping on Monday to post something. I think I have a really good topic, and I hope to you guys enjoy it.
Well, I absolutely enjoyed the last episode you all had. Y'all, please go check out Luke Casely. She talked about, what was it? Stop talking. Oh, if I haven't heard that a thousand times in my life. But anyway, yes, ladies, we believe in traditional gender roles over here. We support marriage and long-term relationships. Lucy and I are both two older women. I'm 48, she's 57. We speak from our life experience. If you think we can help you, then you have us for an hour. If you all have a question on Instagram, you can put it in the question or TikTok. I see Alika Murphy, and she says, hello, my question is this. So if you are typing, we will wait for it to come in. No monologue. Let's see, what announcements do we have while we're waiting for the questions to come in? What should we talk about, or what should we announce, Lucy?
Well, we have the MaggieLu meetup soon, and we have the um, special thing that we're going to have in the summer for the younger folks. So it's up to you, Maggie. Oh, and I wanted to share something that I learned today. Do you believe that there are restaurants posing as people on dating apps, setting dates with women? So the women would go to the restaurant, then they cancel, and they're already at the restaurant. So the women stay there and they get their business because they already went to the restaurant. I cannot believe this. This is, I'm telling you, the world is upside down. It's funny, it's sad, but again, it's brilliant.
I think that's horrible. So a restaurant poses as a man asking a woman for a date to get her to come in the door. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Those news shows, thank you, Donnie. Those news shows that do those exposés, I think they should be one of those that, the ones that go to the tire shop or the car place or whatnot. Oh my
Or
goodness.
the
That,
what would you do ones. What would you do?
oh yeah, if I found out, man, it wouldn't be elegant. I would probably use social media in a bad way. But anyway, as Lucy was saying, we have a few events coming up, you all. So in April, the first Friday of April, we have the no, sorry, this one right here, the MaggieLu meetup. This is going to be open to anyone in the community if you want to come to the Atlanta area, or if you're already in the Atlanta area. Tickets are for sale. You can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com. We are just having an informal meet and greet because that is the weekend of our graduation. Lucy is flying in from California. I'm so excited, but we wanted to have an event that you all can come, eat, drink, and be merry. It's going to be 9 rounds of tapas, or small plates updates at Eclipse de Luna. Y'all have seen me there. And Bottomless Sangria. And we are going to have a good time. Who all do we have here? Accountability is laughing. American Crow says, yes, you, Lucy. I love it. I love it. Let's see, what else do we have? Like Lucy said, so the finishing school that we have is for ladies from teens to 60 plus, but you all have been asking if we would do anything for the kids. So save the date. We are going to have an etiquette summer school for the kids. We'll say 5 to 15. That is going to be this summer in July. So it'll be a 4-week session instead of an 8-week session. So details are to come. Let me get through this graduation. But very excited. So yes, you all will be able to get some content. And the finishing school for ladies is obviously women only. However, the etiquette summer school for the kids will be co-ed. All right, so Femgen says, yes, it's amazing to hear. Absolutely. Oh, so yes, you all have us. Let's see. I don't know. Do I have any updates? Just knee deep in the planning. I think I have a question on IG from the tree lady. She says, I've been out of the loop. When do you do another session? So let me explain how the finishing school works. We offer it once per quarter. We are currently in session, so registration is closed until we open it up again. Because it's 8 weeks, we've got some students in the chat, and we take them through an entire curriculum. And so this summer, instead of teaching the ladies, we're going to teach the kids. So maybe the fall, maybe before then, but I would say stay tuned. All right, we always have the questions coming in. I see just another mark. Y'all are killing me. Thank you. I put it on right before the stream, and then sometimes I think, is that a bit much? But I'm rushing. Thank you for the compliment. Anyway, just another mark says, how is the finishing school going? What are you all noticing are a few trouble areas women are having? Well, well, I will say this. So we offer courses. I also do one-on-one consults and group coaching. So there's kind of like the femininity, etiquette, elegance side, which we have a curriculum for. And then there is the one-on-one coaching and consults. So I guess in the finishing school, you know, Lucy and I have talked about this. A lot of what we talk about is just consideration and awareness for others. And I wouldn't say these are any problems unique to our students, but I think in this fast-paced culture that we live in, that everything is about me and what I want, we really are teaching the ladies to be elegant is to slow down. I've had to learn that elegance is not rushed, and to really like read the room and be mindful of what's appropriate and what's not, and think about others first. So of course we talk about dining, and we talk about confidence, and we talk about international and all these things, but that's what I would say has been a red thread. What would you say, Lucy?
Good one. I also think that we've found that a lot of the basic elegance and etiquette things that we are supposed to learn from when we're growing up, while our mom is doing things and she teaches us to set up the table, and not to put the elbows on the dining table, or some of those things have been missed. They're not being taught. And I don't know if it's something that it's because we are living in such a fast-paced world that we're not taking into consideration that our kids are watching, and we model the behavior that they learn. So that is something that I think that has been a concurring topic or concurrent behavior. But it's just, it serves as a refresher course, the finishing school, for many of us. So they're not truly something that you say, oh my goodness, I can't believe they don't know it. Most of the women know it. It's just a matter of just reinforcing it.
I absolutely agree. So I dropped the link in the chat. You all can talk to us camera on or camera off, or you can type your question in the chat. We do these once a week as a way to give back. Plus, it gives you all a little look into what it's like working with us. And I would wholeheartedly agree with Lucy. I think part of it too, and I work in tech, but I think those of us that are just used to everything being so like instant, and there's nothing wrong with that. We talk about social media, we use it as a tool, but there are some basic, whether you call it home training or manners. I mean, of course, we talk about etiquette and all the different situations, but those things really matter. And then, I'm not going to act like relationships don't, especially if you want to be with a traditional man, a masculine man. You're the feminine asset to his brand. You are going to represent him. You're going to represent your children, your family. And so you don't want to do anything that's going to embarrass yourself or embarrass others. And so Lucy and I love this space. We could talk about it all day, but I think just kind of going back to basics and giving the ladies the tools that they need to be successful. And then we're going to put it into practice when we meet for our first annual retreat weekend. Very excited about that. All right, so I don't see any other questions in the chat. This is open to the men, to the ladies, Instagram and TikTok if you all have any questions for us. What else would you add, Lucy?
I have a question to the ones joining us. What are some assumptions that you have made of Maggie and me? And this would be a good place to write them in, put them in the chat, and then we'll agree or say that's a good assumption. However, this is who we are.
I'm nervous and excited at the same time. I remember you brought that up. So, yes, I would love to hear what you all think. We're pretty transparent here. We share, we speak from our life experience. That's basically what we do. So, if you guys have been regulars, you've picked up on a lot of that. Who do we have here? Always coming through. Oh my goodness. Okay. Shout out to Thane Mithra. You all know him. He's come out of the bushes to ask us a question. He says, how many mentees have actual follow through and show promise versus go through the paces? I really love this question. And thank you, Thane, for asking. And thank you, Thane, just for being you. I would say this. One of the things that I'm very intentional about, and I'm loving that is happening, is that we are building a community. For those of us who are late bloomers, or, we don't feel like what's out there in popular media represents us well. Maybe you've always felt like the odd one out. I didn't find that space where I felt comfortable, so I'm creating that space where I feel comfortable. And when Lucy and I got together this past summer to come up with this curriculum, we did structure it as a class, but we're very excited that the students are just as excited as us to stay connected. I meet with several of them regularly. We're all going to be coming to Atlanta to have an in-person session, and I am seeing improvement within 1 or 2 sessions. Some of the, impulse behaviors, or some of the missteps, or just the slowing down and being more, if we give feedback about appearance, they make that change the next time that we meet, because we meet in a private Zoom. And so I really see the ladies like taking it seriously, taking notes and really implementing it. And sometimes you'll see them in the chat and saying how much it changed them. And we always wrap up with any last questions or comments. And the ladies have been really, really happy about the space, and they want more. So that's what I would say, Lucy. What would you say?
I agree. I love when the they catch themselves doing something and they say, wait a minute, I need to slow down and I need to do this. And you notice how it absolutely changes their entire behavior just because they ground themselves and they think a little bit about the impulsive behavior, and it makes sense.
Well, Lucy, you asked for it, so here y'all come. So Lucy asked what assumptions y'all have. So whether you call us MaggieLu, whether you call us, shout out to Zoom to Thailand, Salt and Pepper, whether you call us Laverne and Shirley, the odd couple, Ebony and Ivory, whatever. We are two older women. And let's see what you all thought you knew. So Fem Gems had an assumption that Luke Hazley was way younger. I want to ask a question. So we have shared our ages. I'm 48, Lucy is 57. If we did not tell you how old we were, I would love for you all to put in the chat M and then what age you think I am, and then L and what age you think Lucy is, if we had not told you. I'd love to know how old or young we look. Let's see what else. The Condemned says you would be biased because you love y'all, so you're just gonna stay quiet. I don't know if that's good or bad. So does that mean you assumed something bad? I don't know. I'm nervous about this. Oh dear. Great question. Yes. Thane is always here with the questions. Fem Gem says, Maggie, I assume she was such a congenial and warm lady and is. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness. What other assumptions? Fem Gem said, oh no, Lucy's covering her face. Fem Gem says, today you've been practicing your table manners and eating more gracefully. You love it so much. Yay. I love that. Okay, Lucy's, you're covering your face. I haven't scrolled yet. I'm nervous. Oh God. Ben Cisco says, I like MaggieLu. Thank you. Oh. Once again, from the bushes to Thane, there are no words. He sends $200. I mean, Thane, like, you just speak in $100 bills. I don't ever take it for granted. We are so grateful. Thank you. And he says, I assumed y'all were Lucy, I'm going to let you respond while I put this in the banner. Thank you, Thane.
I know exactly what he means because he goes into other chats and he can spot the ones by what they say, that they're saying the the right things, but they're indeed chameleons. And you know that men watch our actions. So it has to, he sees that our actions match our words. And I love that because that's how it should be. Thank you, Thane. What a generous man you are with us. And, we love you. We love our men supporting us.
Yes, that is so true. I'm just forever grateful. Thank you so much. So since we're a little light on questions, I'll use this for a teachable moment, ladies. And we laugh at the excuse me, the chameleon boss ladies. But this says so much. Number one, men are always watching, and we've said it and we've said it and we've said it. And all of the men that support us, they're not just watching to be like looky-loos. They are watching and looking for consistency, ladies. It is so important. If you think you're going to be able to be conditionally like, I'll be soft over here and then I'll be boss babe over here and then I'll, say okay over here and then I'm going to wrestle you to the ground with everything over here. It's not going to fly because the men aren't going to speak up or act on their assumptions until they're confirmed. So what does that mean, ladies? You want to make sure that you're showing up in the way that represents you best and you do it consistently. So ladies, you have to choose. You're not going to be able to straddle this fence. You have to commit. And, Lucy and I have shared that it's hard, to find like-minded, women that kind of still believe in traditional roles and relationships. You all see what's out there. And I have been that salmon swimming upstream and, people want to shout you down or say, don't take all that. Or why do you have to, you know what? I allow people to do whatever they want to do. And so ladies, unfortunately for us, the modern environment doesn't give women like the benefit of the doubt, like the way we were. I'll speak for myself. The way we were raised, like sugar and spice and everything nice, and just, knowing that girls were delicate and girls were ladylike, the way we raised boys, be careful, she's a girl, like all of those things, unfortunately, for us, men don't assume that. They assume there's something else going on there. So it's up to us to prove in a feminine way, no, this is really who I am. And I'll say this thing lastly. One of my etiquette teachers, who is English, she says, you never know a lady's quality. Wait, something about like a lady's quality is like a tea bag. You don't know her true strength until you put her in hot water. So it's basically about when you have the opportunity to be in somebody's face, when you have the opportunity to get that last word in or brag about your accomplishments, and you choose to say, no, I'm just going to continue to be, the best version of myself, and then pick up on that. What would you add to that, Lucy?
I love that. And I know that that story that you told me about uh, Jackie O, about her being the first lady, that nobody knew that she spoke French because she never said it. She was very, unassuming. And then when she needed to show her speaking abilities, she showed the world. So I think that that's what it is. You don't have to say, you don't have to, scream what your skills are. It just, you just show it when the time calls for it.
All right, absolutely. And Tree Lady, I see your request on Instagram. If you could hop over to YouTube so I can bring you up, that would be great. If not, I'll see if we can bring you up over here. So they say that Lucy, neither of us look a day over 35. Thank you, Ben Cisco. That's very kind of you. FemGem says Maggie looks 48 to 49. That is accurate. Another 48 to 49. The Condemned says Maggie looks like she's 35. Lucy looks like she's 38. When I first saw you and heard you both speak. Thank you. I appreciate that. Who do we have here? Escape the Rat Race. Thank you so much for being here. Erin Laura says, I'd put both of you in your early 40s. You're 43 and I feel like I'm looking at my peers. You both have great skin. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a question from the Condemned. He says, when you two encounter a loved one going down the path of the strong, independent woman, do you intervene at all or let them learn the hard lesson? Oof. This is a tough one. I think we talked about this in one of our classes too. It wasn't about the strong, independent woman, but it was when to correct, when to speak up, when to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. I would say this, it depends on the relationship that you have with the person. So your question was when you encounter a loved one. So I've shared with you all, I don't have daughters, I don't have sisters. That's a big part of why we started this community. So a lot of men in my family. But if I had a sister or a niece or someone that I cared about and I had a good relationship with them and I saw them kind of taking on this boss babe or whatever the strong independent woman, I would intervene, but I would do it gently with questions because we all know nobody wants to be preached to. That's why I always say I respect that there's lots of different kind of women, lots of different kind of relationships, and traditional isn't for everyone. However, as a reformed modern woman, what I do know is that we are all going to age. And a lot of that gusto that you had, there she is, a lot of that gusto that you had when you're in your youth, as you get older, you're not going to want to be driving that bus anymore. So I would ask her, okay, I see you, you want to be partner in this law firm or whatever it is. What do you want life to look like when you're my age, 40, 50, 60 plus? Shout out to the late, great Kevin Samuels. And I would probably just kind of drop some questions as seeds at first, and then hopefully have a conversation over time. But as far as like, hey, stop that, no, I wouldn't do it that way. What would you do, Lucy?
Yeah, no, I would do it the other way. The Tia that says stop doing that. You don't say that when it comes to a man. And I've seen it because I have nieces. I have a 15, 17-year old and a 22-year-old. So when I catch them saying something about negative about toxic masculinity and all that stuff, I say, don't say that. You know, you have a brother. We all have husbands. Stop spewing those feminine topics, talking points, and we don't see the toxic masculinity happening here. Do you see it? Why are you saying it? And then we start the conversation, but Tia Lucy gets upset and they know it. So they're very careful about when they say stuff like that, they know that I'm going to push back. And in fact, my 22-year-old niece the other day said, I want to marry a blue collar man. And I said, great, but you cannot bring those feminist talking points into the environment. And she looked at me and she goes, I know, Tia Lucy. So they get it. They get it. And it has to do with knowing who it is that you're talking to. If it's a loved one, I am going to speak to them as Tia Lucy. If it's somebody that I don't know, they're going to have to learn on their own, because I'm not going to be going into the back and forth, because there are young women that know it all and they want to do it all. Go ahead and do it. When it comes to my loved one, that's a different thing.
I love that. And we have someone in the back who is cammed up, and I know her. So I am so excited to bring up Donnie Jones. Let me introduce y'all to Donnie, and then I will give you the floor and let you ask your question or comment. But Donnie's here in the Atlanta area. She is my tree lady. She is the tree lady. And let me just say, she has I don't know if it's an arborist or like a tree business. So when you have those trees that need to get cut down because the limbs are doing whatever, or the roots are coming up, that is the business that she owns, and she has taken care of me several times. So Donnie, go ahead, introduce yourself or whatever question you have for us.
Well, you did such a great job. I don't think I need to say anything. But no, Maggie, it's so funny because I watch your videos, and today I was like, you know what? When I saw it pop up, I was like, I'm gonna jump in because I would just want to continue to learn from you and support what you're doing. But you got on a subject today just now that I sometimes struggle with when I'm trying to talk to other women, because, and I want your feedback and just what you think. But a lot of times when talking to young women, they'll see that I'm an entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, a boss lady, whatever. But then when they see me at home, they see a different side of me, and they don't understand that that's not an act. That's how I am. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I love and support my husband. I want to cater to his needs, and those type of things. And how do you all suggest women get past this idea that I'm a boss this, I ain't gonna do that, I bring this to the table, I bring that to the table, as opposed to understanding in order to attract the man that they want or that they say they want, some of that's got to be set aside. And I think you do a lot of you help a lot with your etiquette classes and addressing these issues. But have you noticed there's this line that you have to I guess walk when trying to be sensitive to these women that are talking about they're this and they're that, but at the same time not understanding why they're not attracting the kind of man they want?
Excellent question. So I will take a stab at answering this, and then I'll let Lucy do the same. Yes, we see this a lot, and I would say that these women don't really understand men. And I don't blame them as much, because we have been kind of groomed to think that our professional accomplishments will translate into personal accomplishments, and they don't. Ladies, if you want a masculine man, they are not going to go toe to toe with you. Somebody has to lead. And I would argue, to your point, Donnie, a lot of these boss babe women are either single or they're with a man that they don't respect. Because if they met the caliber of man that they respected, they would get on the program and they just choose not to. And so they have what they have, and that's fine if that's what they want. But yes, to your point, and I work in tech and I've shared with you all, I got caught up in some of that modern woman mindset, big degrees, big jobs. But what I realized the hard way is that we women are not built for the long haul the way that men are. So if you want to get to the ripe old age of like me and Lucy, you want to choose wisely, and you have to hang that ego up at the door. And I think when women realize that it's not, submission is not a bad word, and it's not like you're this, slave or whatever they think it is. There's actually a joy in it. And I love some of those simple, repetitive homemaking tasks because I've been in spreadsheets all day or whatever it is. So yes, it's kind of like to that question we just had. Sometimes people have to learn the hard way, but I would just tell them, like, with that attitude, if you were, like Thane said, that boss babe all the time, you're going to either stay single or you're going to have a man that's going to get on your program, but you're not going to respect him. What would you say, Lucy?
Hey, lady. So what I was thinking that I think that you modeling being a wife to those women that ask you how you can uh, be that woman to a strong man, I think that's all they need to see. There are some that are going to continue asking you question. How do you, why do you cook your husband a meal when, he can do it on his own? And then that's when you can guide them a little bit. But again, unfortunately, a lot of these young women have been um, trained by the media, by what they see, what they hear, on a different mindset. And I think it's up to us, older women, to show them how it is to have a masculine man at home. We enjoy serving him because you have to have that heart of service. You have to be able to say, I'm serving my husband, I'm serving my man, I'm taking care of him because, again, he's the man of the house. So there are some that will ask those questions and that will follow you as their mentor. And there are others that will do what they want to do, and they will see themselves when they're 50, 60 years old on their own, crying about why they did not follow your lead when they were younger.
I absolutely agree. All right, so Donnie, I'll bring you back up. You can let us know if you had any other questions or if that helped.
And I will say this, you all are so elegant. Both of you all are so elegant. And sometimes when I run into situations like that, where they do ask me questions or I see behavior that I'm like, I should say something. I'm one of those people that I actually do say something. And maybe I should do it in a much more elegant way. But a lot of times when these type of situations come up, sometimes I think it's better to just be blunt as opposed to dance around the issues. Because if we keep dancing around the issues of this type of behavior, how are people going to learn? I always say that I learned my best lessons from somebody hitting me in the head when I didn't figure it out the first couple times. And so going back to what you were saying, that sometimes if it's somebody you're related to, yeah, you can be a little bit more direct. But I will also say that literally last week at Nordstrom's, there were some women that were behaving in an inappropriate manner and speaking in an inappropriate manner in an area where I was bringing my daughter to look for a dress. And I, as an older woman, as a 50 something year old, I'll say it, 55-year-old woman, I said something. I said, listen, you may call me a boomer or an old lady, but I was like, that language, hey, sweetheart.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. That is my daughter. I was like, that language is inappropriate. And it's also conducive to one of the reasons why, as women, we're looked at a certain way. I was like, we have to raise our standards. And one of them I felt was really kind of understanding the message. And the other one just kind of like popped her head like, I don't know who you're talking to. But even if I only touched that one woman for a hot second, I could tell she was like, okay, I get it. So going back to what you were saying, I think we do need to speak up. And us older women kind of need to be like those aunts from back in the day and be like, hey, baby girl, that's yeah, exactly. What you did, Maggie, pop them on the head, but do it in an elegant way, as you would say. And just like you mentioned, I am Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Tree Service here in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you do need your trees done, give us a call, 770-413-TREE. But more importantly, I'm on this channel because I want to learn from these women. I've been so impressed with what Maggie's done and the message that she has, both of you all, the message that both of you all have. And it's just, I'm telling you, it's heartwarming to see who you are and to see the good that you all are putting out in the world. So thank you and keep doing it because we need it. All communities need it, but I'm telling you, big time we need it, and it's invaluable.
Well, thank you so much, Donnie. I am going to drop you down and you can put your website. Yes, thank you. Feel free to put your website or information in the chat. I'll pull it up in case anybody needs any tree services in the Atlanta area. But yeah, I totally understand. I think part of it is personality too. Y'all know I don't like the smoke. I'm a rule follower. I go away from the fray. Sometimes people don't mind it. And there's no right or wrong answer. That's what we do here. We speak from our own experience. And, we've also told the ladies too, you want to make sure that you consider safety at all times. I think the final point for me with this, I will definitely cut a look. If you ask me a direct question, I will give you a direct answer. But I try to, what do they say, be the change you want to see. I try to lead by example. I try to speak in a way that I want people to speak to me. I don't swear at you. Please don't swear at me. I address you by your name. Please address me by my name. So, ladies, I think we can do a lot by what we do and what we don't do. But I would love to know in the chat, for any ladies in the chat, if you were out here behaving badly, would you take well to, let's just say, a stranger, me, Lucy, Donnie, a stranger correcting you, or how would you respond? And then we'll get to the next question. Would you add anything, Lucy?
Aware of the situation and being that strong, being able to take the rejection that sometimes you are going to get when you point out bad behavior. Sometimes people will take it and say, oh, I wasn't aware, I'm sorry. There are others that will push back no matter what you say, and that's where you step away and walk away. Because again, those that want to change will allow some kind of criticism. Those that don't and will not take responsibility or accountability for their behavior, they will push back and will make you the bad guy on that correction. So again, I think with Donnie, she saw the opportunity, she was able to speak up, and she said it, and it worked out well. Again, you just have to be discerning as a feminine woman. You have to discern and see whether the situation calls for it, or you just let them be, and you make sure that you stay away from that because you don't want to be part of that chaos.
That is so, so, so true. All right. So let's see. I saw something else in here from Cassandra says the key is discernment. Okay. I saw another question. So we got about 20 minutes left. We will take you all's questions. So just another Mark is asking, how do you all teach women in your school how to take constructive criticism from men? Oh dear. Okay. So let's see. I'll take a stab at this and then Lucy can answer. And I'll drop the link again in case anybody wants to talk to us live, camera on or camera off. Now, again, the disclaimer, the finishing school is really about personal development, femininity, etiquette, and elegance. But we do talk about the difference between masculine traits and feminine traits. We cover that in week one, really bringing them aware of what qualities, the nurturing, the appreciating beautiful things, the caretaking that are usually associated with women and feminine traits, and then the doers, the problem solvers, the pride that are masculine traits. So that awareness about knowing who men are and how they communicate. For example, men are usually a few words, especially masculine men. They're going to get right to the point. They may or may not consider your feelings. So I think the way things land on us is based on the filter of what we think is supposed to happen. So when you realize that men don't talk the way that women do, you realize that you may have thought it was a criticism, but it's really just a man being direct because he's a problem solver. And if this is a man that cares for you, your father, your brother, your uncle, your man, they're going to say, hey, don't do that. Stop that. And you're going to feel kind of like, ow, that was a little harsh, but that is how they love, because they protect. And so I think just the awareness and understanding that men also have a standard, and ladies, this is what they expect if that's what you want, and it's up to the ladies to choose. What would you say, Lucy?
So it's important for women to remember that our men are not going to give us that criticism when it's small things. By the time that a man says something, it's because it's something that it will either impact the relationship, impact your safety, impact, will have some kind of big impact. Our men in general, they give us a lot of grace because they understand that we are emotional chaos. What's going on in our heads, they understand that it's turmoil. So they give us a lot of grace and they understand a lot. So by the time they tell us something, it's because it's something major that is impacting our overall our relationship.
I could not agree more. All right, so let's see. So you all can check out Don's tree. I'm just going to go back and see if I missed any questions. If you all have any questions for us, a lot of feedback. And I did ask for the ladies that wanted to, I'm curious how you all would receive correction in this day and age. And yes, I think you're right. This is stuff that we should have gotten it from home, but a lot of women didn't. And I remember I was talking to another content creator, and if I'm being honest, you all, I still don't think that anything that we say is that life shattering or that profound. It's just that what was normal or what was standard, not even a generation ago, seems like it's odd now. And it's no fault of our own the way that we were raised, but I'm so grateful I had a traditional upbringing. Lucy and I are both immigrants, and mom, dad, sisters, brothers. What would you add to that, Lucy?
And I think we need to get back to just appreciating each men and women by who they are, not wanting to have that. I mean, if you want that 50-50 partnership and so forth, that's great. I love it for you. But when it comes to traditional relationships, usually the man in general, most of the time, actually 99% of the time, he's the head of the household and we will follow. We'll go either along or behind him because again, they've got a lot to lose if that leadership is gone. So again, it's not about fighting who's the leader in the relationship. Let him do what he does best. Men are great at leading the pack. They are great at, problem solving, creating the environment just to create it for the woman in their life. That's what they live for, most of them. And that's what I think women do not understand. Men have fought wars for us, and we have taken them for granted. And that is something that we as older women need to get it in the younger women's head, that once men are gone, we are on our own, and the world will end. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Aaron's over here on Instagram saying, I take correction pretty well. I'm usually the one asking for people to relax until we get home or somewhere private. And then I saw this from Monique. I would probably have a chip on my shoulder, but would go home and it would be on my mind a lot. I love this response. And she says, but that's why I'm here to learn. It has to be said, it has to be done. I mean, honestly, you all know my story. I was minding my business. Don't bother me. I won't bother you. I'm over here in my cul-de-sac. But, whether it was Kevin Samuels or my man saying, you need to get that stuff that you do out there. And I was like, what does that even mean? Women don't know this stuff. Women don't do this stuff anymore. There was almost like a calling or a compulsion to kind of at least try and risk, whatever was going to happen. But I do believe, and especially since we are using a platform like this, the internet is forever, ladies, and that could be a bad thing, but it can also be a very good thing. And I hope and I pray that there is some woman, young, middle-aged, or old, that maybe the way we say it, or you relate to who you relate to, I understand that. But maybe something that we said, even if they're not ready to make the change, like Monique said, they'll go home and think about it. And then you go out in the world and you start looking at the way you act and the way people respond to you. And if everybody's told you, you got a little bit of a temper, and you're like, that's just who I am. And then we say, you know what? Men like women that are more agreeable. You always have to have the last word. It'll be on your mind. And then you will think about, maybe I should do something different. What does Thane say? He's telling Donnie that people that generalize tend to show a lack of critical thinking or project their issues outward. Yes. There's, yeah. You can just do the broad brush and label somebody, but hopefully when we all leave, we're happy with the decisions that we've made in our life. Like Lucy said, are you going to bed with a smile, or are you crying yourself to sleep because you put on that brave face all day and you're miserable? What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And unfortunately, with this modern world, this fast paced world, um, women, for whatever reason, have been taught that having um, that boss like behavior is something to strive for. Again, you can be a lady like Donnie and have your own business. When you get home, you drop your boss lady behavior, and you become the mother of the household, the wife that your husband wants to have around. Who wants to have, what man wants to have a know-it-all, telling them what to do at their home when they've had to deal with that all day long, and they come home to continue that? It makes no sense. So we need to get back to our feminine essence. We all have it. It's just it's been suppressed. I think it's by design. So we need to start welcoming that softness, that delicate, feminine, just gentleness that we have.
Yes, ladies, and I'll say this, and I don't want this to come across as boastful, but Lucy and I create a community for the older women to teach the young. But look how many men are in this space. Some of them some of them you don't know. Sometimes they watch from afar. Sometimes they're very active in the chat. And if you look at some of the other spaces where women are, yeah, girl, you go, girl, you tell him, you get that bag, collect those trinkets, you show him who's boss, are the caliber of men that you have or want to have in those spaces. I think we can learn a lot, ladies, by really reading the room and watch how men move and how they show support. And so, like, again, it's not that it's me or it's Lucy, but men are not going to stay in a space that is going to cause additional stress. Their life is already hard. They go out there, they slay dragons, they're always operating like the enemy is at the gate. So they don't want to come home to that. And whoever taught you or whoever told you that your big degrees and your big accomplishments and your big bonuses, we have all of that. But what men really want has not changed in these hundreds and thousands of years. And like my man says, ladies, you're already feminine. You just have to stop fighting it. What does Thane say here? Boss lady behavior vanishes in a second when there is danger or a strife. Look at the many crying on TikTok after being fired in this month's Tech Wipe. OMG. And this one hits home. Ladies, I don't mind sharing. I'll, share a little bit with you all. I work in tech, and layoffs are just part of corporate America. I was actually laid off in September of last year. So October, November, December. The holidays are hard, but I was doing all this while interviewing. I'm working now. It's fine. But my man was like, babe, don't worry about it. You need me to pay the mortgage? I'll pay the mortgage. And that thing in me that was just like, no, like I'm going to work. I'm going to be independent. Like I want to contribute. But secretly, if I'm being very honest, oh my God, how my shoulders just dropped. And I was like, you would do that? Like I never ask, I never expect. And Thane is right, ladies. And I'm going to tell you another thing my man said. I don't know sometimes if I want to say the way he talks to me, but he was like, women are too safe now. Meaning we have all this protection. We got cameras, we got 911, we got stuff on the speed dial, neighbors watching, but it wasn't that long ago that a man really was your protector. And so that's really who we are. And like Lucy said, and like Thane said, I'm not trying to be out there fending for anybody. You will just find me. I'll just be on the ground in the field. I give up. It's over. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And, that's a beautiful thing about modern society. Our men have made our world so safe that we as women have lost the ability to appreciate that they've created that world for us. So, and one of the things that I always think, I've been into civil wars, Nicaragua and Venezuela. So again, you want to see the men be the first ones to start saying the women and children are protected. You see it there. So again, you women in the modern world have been so protected. You are safe to be able to say that you don't need a man until you need it. Unfortunately, I don't want to be part of that. Trust me, I've already seen it. So it's time for us to go back and say, thank you, men, for creating this world. We are here to serve you, to take care of you, because we love you.
Oh, and ladies, you think you get rewards by the other stuff? Show up as a useful, comforting, supportive woman in a man's life. You get it all. Believe me, you get it all. All right, so we've got about 5 minutes left. I'll drop the link one more time in case anybody wants to chat. Camera on or camera off. We do these once a week. Lucy and I love to give back and just add value. And we know that not everybody had the type of upbringing where this was commonplace. Some of you all are hearing this for the first time. So we are so glad that you all are here. But yes, I absolutely love that. And it's true. I'm I don't watch too much social media, but how many women do we see crying about the position that they put themselves in? The Condemned says, last question for all the women here tonight. Oh dear. He says, when was the last time you apologized to your man when you knew that you were the one in the wrong? Be honest. Did you ever apologize? I'll put myself on the hot seat. We'll answer, and then you all can answer in the chat. I apologize 9.9 times out of 10. I'm in a really good mood. But we're human, work, kids, stress. And I try very hard, ladies. And this is important. Those of you all that you don't, we talked about this last week, don't bring your troubles to your man and just dump them on his lap. Men are problem solvers. If you have a question, by all means, ask. They want to help you. But that going on and on with complaining, it's not, they don't want that. And so I do a really good job not doing that. But I'll be honest, if I have had a rough day with the kids or a rough day at work or, IT support for my parents or whatever it is, sometimes you're just like, you know what? I've had it, and I can be a little bit shorter than I know I should be. And he's having to pay the price for something that he didn't did. And that is unacceptable. Full stop. I'm not even going to say he should understand. So when I get myself back together, the first thing I do, babe, I'm so sorry. I just, whatever happened, I explain it, but I should not have responded that way, or I shouldn't have been distracted when you were talking to me. I'm sorry. And he's like, I understand, babe, but I absolutely will apologize. What would you say, Lucy?
Yeah, I apologize all the time. And when I say that men have just give you that grace, there are times when saying with $100. Thank you so much, Thane. You are so kind. Anyway, so I there are times where that I've come to him and said, "Babe, remember that time when we had this?" And he said, and I apologize for something that happened years ago. He's like, just don't even sweat it. I don't even remember that. So again, men are not that way. We are the ones that find ways 5 years ago to create issues. And they're like, once it happens, it happens. So again, yeah, when I'm in the wrong, I immediately, apologize. Um, but I am the one that needs time to process sometimes, especially when he is not in a good mood and he snaps back, and I don't want to respond immediately. So I take time, maybe, maybe an hour, 2 hours, and even sometimes overnight, even though we kiss goodnight at night because we don't go to bed without saying goodnight to each other, to process. And then we discuss a little bit. It's not like we're gonna have a meeting about what he said, she said type thing, but some of the behavior that sometimes wasn't called for. But yeah, immediately there's no reason to hold grudges. You're gonna be with this man till death do us part. So may as well apologize right away and move on.
I love that. And that is so true. Erin Laura says, I do apologize, but I need a cool down time. Just let me cry in my room for 10 or 15. My mom was great with having us sit alone, think about our words and actions as kids, and it carries on now. I cannot agree more. And I agree with what Lucy said. One of our first questions was about taking criticism from men. And I don't know if I want to share what I got in trouble for, but I did something that he told me not to do. It was a small thing, but again, ladies, like, men don't like to repeat themselves. And so if they've told you something and you're like, okay, but then you do it anyway, prepare for the wrath. Just know it's not going to be pretty, and you just have to take it because he told you. But yes, I love this last comment from Thane about AI, because this applies to tech, but also the world. He says AI is here, which is artificial intelligence, you all. Artificial intelligence is here. Jobs are becoming redundant. Are you? And ladies, I'll just close with saying this, coming from someone with big job, big degree, and all that. I think in my career, I've been laid off about 5 times. It happens. It's part of tech. It's part of corporate America. I always land on my feet. However, it it wears on you every time you got to get back on that horse, and you realize that you don't want it as much as you thought you did. So, I've said, amicably divorced. I think I should work as long as the boys are still in high school, but be careful putting too much weight on that big job, that big degree, that big promotion, that big anything, because that world out there is dog eat dog, and it can be great when you're riding that wave. But what's really going to sustain you over time, hopefully you see that here, the value of the relationships that you have with hopefully your husband, your family, and those that you really care about. I know that's something that can't be replaced by artificial intelligence. What would you say to close this out, Lucy?
Those are great questions, and it makes, at least me, it makes me think a little more. The AI thing, that's going to be something that's going to hit eventually, especially those jobs that, can be automated. So for us women, we need to think about that. And for those that are looking for a significant other, I think it's time to get into your feminine, real self, not fake femininity, not because you think it's going to work and then once you get that ring, you're going to change. That's not what the guy signed up for. So again, just go back into your femininity. Just learn how to be delicate. We are naturally delicate from the get-go, since the day that on our it's in our DNAs. We just have to be able to use it all the time.
Absolutely. And on that note, we will wrap up. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, Lucy and I are available for you. I have a channel, Lucy has a channel, and then we come together for you all once a week on our Ask Us Anything. It's usually on Wednesdays, but no stream for me tomorrow. And then we will see you all back next week. Thank you, Thane. Oh, yes, he's still going in about that AI. It's in fast food, medicines, robots. Y'all, I'm telling you, I have seen a restaurant that is completely robots. Yes, AI is here. So focus on what really matters. Thank you all for the compliments. Thank you all as well. And Thane, there are no words, for sponsoring us with first $200 and then another $100. We appreciate you so, so much. You don't have to do any of that, but you continue to support us. And I just appreciate you being here and you being you and you giving us your voice. And thank you, Donnie. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you all on the next episode of Ask Us Anything. Until then, adios.